Well, a longtime friend of convicted killer Alec Murdaugh just pleaded guilty to helping him steal more than $4 million. The insurance settlement was intended for the family of Murdaugh's housekeeper who died in a fall. Murdaugh was convicted in March of murdering his wife and son in 2021. 3 years earlier, the family's housekeeper, Gloria Satterfield, died after falling outside of Murdaugh's home. He convinced Satterfield's family to hire Corey Fleming, his college buddy, to file a wrongful death lawsuit. Fleming received $4.3 million from Murdaugh's insurers, but he and Murdaugh kept the money. Joining us now, criminal defense attorney Brian Claypool. So, Brian, Murdaugh is already appealing his murder convictions. Does this insurance fraud case have any bearing on his appeal?
Yeah, hey, Kelly, great to be with you. I don't think it has any bearing on the appeal, but I think the bigger million-dollar question is, why hasn't Murdaugh been charged with murder for Gloria Sattering? I mean, all the facts lead to him for having killed her. Now you've got this new evidence where, oh, the dogs didn't cause her to fall, right? You heard that. Now his associate has come clean. Maybe the feds need to talk to this associate Fleming and get an admission from him that Murdaugh admitted to him that he committed the murder. I mean, how else would she fall down the stairs? If the dogs didn't do it, then maybe he pushed her. Why hasn't the county, for example, hired what's called a kinesiologist? A kinesiologist studies movement in relation to causes of accident, right? Looking at, for example, how hard she fell down the stairs, what her injuries were relative to the force. Why hasn't that been done as well? But I'm deeply troubled why he hasn't been charged with murder.
Well, I think that's a very, very relevant point and something that's going to be interesting as these cases move forward and more investigation is being done, I'm sure. So Murdaugh, as you know, serving 2 life sentences, still faces a lot of legal battles. Can he be held accountable for even more crimes? He can't serve any more time.
Yeah, well, he's been charged with 22 additional counts of financial fraud because of the money they stole, the $4.5 million from the settlement, much like you saw in his underlying murder trial. But really, what does that do? Like you just said, I mean, this family wants justice. And here's another thing, Kelly. You've heard of means, motive, opportunity. Have you ever seen a case more clear with all 3? Murdaugh, a couple of weeks prior to Sattering dying, he bought insurance, homeowners insurance, on the house to make sure that insurance money would pay the wrongful death settlement that he then stole. I mean, what more evidence does this county prosecutor need? Maybe he now needs to get that admission from Fleming and maybe cop a plea deal. He can maybe go and cop a plea deal with Fleming and get Fleming to admit that Murdaugh confessed to this murder.
Yeah, it's a horrible story all around. Brian, we've been following new developments in the Madeleine McCann investigation. Police in Portugal have ended their latest search for clues. McCann vanished in 2007 while her family was staying at a resort. And earlier this week, investigators searched an area about 30 miles away around a reservoir. They collected some material that'll be analyzed. However, investigators don't think they have anything conclusive. So this latest search was prompted by police in Germany, where a suspect is being held for a previous crime. Does that tell you they think he did it, or they just don't have enough evidence to charge him? What's your read on that situation?
Yeah, I have a couple of reads. First of all, another pathetic investigation, right? I mean, it takes 15, 16 years to finally get out there and do their job and search this reservoir. Did you know this guy, I think his name's Bruckner, was charged with raping another woman? He's in jail for that, by the way. And did you know that woman he raped stayed at the same resort that Madeleine was at? Hello? I mean, what are these investigators thinking in Portugal? And why didn't they immediately, for example, look on the sex register offender list after she went missing? Why wasn't this guy on their radar screen from day one? So getting back to your question, though, I think they're trying to establish that her body might be there, right? That's the starting point. You have to establish where she might have been killed. And maybe there's clothing they found of hers, or possibly part of her body. I hate to say it, but maybe they found that and they want to establish through DNA that that is in fact her body. And then if they found something, Kelly, clothing, hopefully they can maybe then try to take that and see if there's any of this guy Bruckner's DNA on that clothing.
And that family's been through so much. We hope they find peace. Brian Claypool, thank you as always for joining us.
You bet. Thank you, Kelly.